Are you serious?
Hey everyone, I want to talk about mental game today and give you an example related to a Twitter controversy of a top pro Battlegrounds player, and they're kind of this controversy, and I wanted to talk about the mental game issues around it. And I think we often think of people with mental game problems as something that, oh, the beginners play, but all the pros have good mental game. And then the opposite could possibly be true, where the pros often have huge mental game issues. And this tweet was, I don't even follow Sunbaconrelaxer, but this tweet was all over my feed because everybody was talking about it. And it says the numbers, Sunbaconrelaxer tweeted this, the number, whether if it's your exam, sales, competition, placement, sales amount, competition, placement, is your worth. Don't believe people who say it is not. They are probably laughing at how weak you are. Only way out is work harder. And this is a very life is cruel. You gotta work hard. Everyone's laughing at you. If you don't do the great, you're gonna be worthless. It's a very cruel statement, but a lot of people believe this. And I think I've read some of his other posts, I think it's a very familiar thing. Everyone in his family, he's been kind of raised with this mindset. He's been raised with this is the reality. And I think Salissa posted something in response that sort of why it's sorry, this is the worst tech. Never let numbers define your worth. It leads to toxic behaviors in all aspects of money or career. Gaming, numbers can help you hit your goals, but personal values can many things in life you try on yourself. A good, healthy belief. But I want to talk about why, because I think if you're Sunbake Relaxer and you see this, what are you going to think? You're going to think, see, this is exactly what I tell them. Don't believe people who say a lot. They are laughing at you. And then all these people are saying things about him, they're laughing. And this almost reinforces his belief. And I wanted to talk about, I want to take the morality on it, because people were saying really mean things to Sunbake Relaxer. I understand why, but I think they're saying narcissist, you're an asshole, all this really rough stuff. And what I saw is a guy with poor mental game habits, with incorrect beliefs. And I'm going to talk about his three main statements in this Twitter post, and and why they're incorrect and why they will actually make him play worse. Because I think from his point of view, hey, if I have this toxic belief, but it allows me to stay on top, because Sunbake Relaxer, super successful, thousands of people watching his stream, excellent Battlegrounds player, been ranked 1 many times, really, really at the top. And he kind of has this, but when you're at the top, you could feel this constant anxiety of, am I going to stay at the top? And I want to talk, and I think that's part of he's almost yelling at himself in this post to say, you just got to keep working hard. And I want to talk about why all three of these beliefs, there's three main beliefs, and I'm going to be referencing to the mental game of poker, because interestingly enough, all three of these things are kind of concepts for the mental game of poker, where these are mental game leaks, and this is going to make him play worse. It's going to make him more anxious. It's going to make him tilt more. I think Sunbake Relaxer struggles from tilting it. When I see this statement, I believe it, because it's full of incorrect beliefs that will cause you to tilt a lot. So first, we're going to go with the first statement. We're going to go whether it's your exam, sales amount, competition, placement is your worth. And this isn't, that placements are valuable, which is something I agree with. If you're a beginner streamer, one of the best ways you can get viewers and what basically gets eyes is have high ranks. Because what does that say? It says, I know what I'm talking about because I went through the process to get this high rank. It's not easy to get this high rank. Only a small percentage of people can get this high rank. So because of that, I know what I'm talking about. That's a great way to get viewers. But it's a thing of sometimes, people might, let's say we're going with streamer worth, all right? There are streamers who have really poor placement rank. I think the classic example I like, Crip, who doesn't, break the high ranks. One of the bigger Battleground streamers out there. Huge numbers, absolutely huge numbers. if not the biggest battleground streamer out there. And Crip offers something intangible. People, a connection. They like him. They want to see Crip. They want to be having fun with Crip. Now, so it's the reality is just because your numbers on the sort of competition level doesn't mean that's even going to translate. There are players who get first place, who are top, who don't have big streamer numbers. So I want to say is one in that realm. Just because you get a high rank doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. I think we could see this where people, we say the exam scores. Like if you get perfect ACTs and SCTs, you might, get in a good college and then fail out. You might get a job and fail out. The reality is, and there are also people who completely bonk their exam scores and go on to be millionaires, to go create a great product, do something really successful. So look, I understand there is these things can be important, but what he's saying is these competition placement is your worth. And another thing about worth, what's interesting is worth is subjective. You can't just say this is what the worth is. And he's kind of saying this person's worth the most, or this person's worth the next, this person's worth the least. And the reality is worth is everyone can have this. Like I can go to a restaurant and I can think this option is worth something for me, and somebody could say that's terrible. Worth is subjective. We all have different values. Often I get people coming into my streaming, they're saying, "Oh, I don't think the buying the skin is worth it. It's too expensive." But somebody's buying that skin, and so it's worth it to them. So just because it's not worth it to you doesn't mean it's worth it to somebody else. So somebody can be high worth to somebody and not this. If you're watching my stream, I probably worth something to you, but chances there are lots of people where they don't value that. They don't value what I have to offer. Now I could say, "Oh, I'm not worth it because they don't value it," or I could because they don't value the stream or something like that, or I could say, "Hey, everybody has different opinions. Everybody has this," and just because maybe if I don't rank in the highest number doesn't mean I don't have worth. So I think there's that mindset. But two, I want to talk about from the actual rank mindset, because I get this with a lot of students where they start doing, and this is why this will really hurt you as a player, this mindset too. Often a player will start doing really well. Maybe they're playing a meta deck. Maybe they start to hit their deck and they go to higher ranks than they ever before. And all of a sudden they have this huge anxiety. Where they feel, "Oh, I'm this," and they want to hold on to their rank. And why do this? Because they believe this thing. My competition placement is a rank. So if they're rank 100, they feel that they are valuable now, where they're normally maybe they're rank 500, 600, and they feel that they want to hold on to that feeling like I am valuable. And I want to say it's much more fixed. Your true rank, let's say, in a balanced meta, when you don't have the meta deck, maybe you're the 300th best player in the world or 400th best player in the world, which is still really great, but maybe you're not typing 100. But right now you get to feel that. So what problem is, if you're holding on to this, one, you're always going to be playing the top meta decks. You're going to be less willing to experiment. You're less willing to take risks because you're going to be holding on to that rank. Every time you lose, you're going to be like, I am not as good as I was before. Or really, if you lose a game, you haven't changed. You're the same person. You win a game, you haven't changed. You're not a better person. Listen, now, the fact that maybe you've worked on yourself and you've improved yourself makes it easier for you to get higher ranks. But that being said, you are the same person before and after you lose the game. So when you have this mindset, you're going to be really holding on. So I found this funny with my dad. When my dad retired, he was a successful executive, and when he was a successful executive, everybody would value his opinion, and they would just on random stuff. And then he retired, and then no one cared about his opinion. But from my point of view, my dad's opinions are still good. My dad could still have valuable advice on random things just because doesn't have that worth. And that's what's interesting, just because and I think he hasn't changed. And he's like, I still know. He's like, I still know about this, all the industry. I still have a strong point of view. He hasn't changed, but that's what's interesting. And I think this is maybe the reality of what Sunbake is talking about is people do judge you on your numbers, but that doesn't mean that the numbers are your worth. And people who know you might say, like if somebody who comes to stream, let's say they see I'm struggling with a new deck and my rank is low, they might know I'm a great player, even though my rank currently is low. And that's the thing. When you have real confidence in your skill, when your rank goes down, I think often players will see me playing at top 20 legend. They think, how do you not feel anxiety? And the reality is why I don't feel anxiety, or I feel a lot less anxiety, because I might still not feel anxiety, is I know I can get it back. Because I know I'm a top player. I've worked on my skill. I've worked on my game. So the reason I don't feel anxiety is that, let's say I tank my rank to rank 5,000, I can get it back. I can get it back very quickly. And I know that. I know that I have the skill and I have the competence in the game to get that back. So my worth is already established within myself, and maybe the placement, and it can feel good. It can feel good to have a high rank. I think that's not a bad thing. But it's a thing of, when we get to this isn't a competition. Placement is a signal of your worth, which is true and useful. It is your worth. You are not worth something if this. And I want to say that is completely false, and that mindset will be toxic. It will make your play worse. And I want to give an excerpt from Jared Tendler's Mental Game of Poker. And this is from poker, where it's lost skill, where players often fall in the trap where they believe losing money also means their skill has disappeared. When they're losing on tilt, they suddenly think they suck. This is an illusion of the mind. Skill learned to the level of unconscious competence are never owned and never disappear, even when on tilt. Illusion arises for three reasons, and this is money in poker, but this would be rank. Equating money with skill. If you lose money and money equals skill, then you instantly suck. When you also hate losing when other players are winning, it's suddenly much better. If it's possible, your suddenly skill pairs, their skill can suddenly appear. And unconscious competence, skills are unconscious, but by definition, you don't have to be thinking about them and are constantly taken for granted. And skills, process being learned, don't show up until, okay, so I think it was mainly the first one. But the bottom line is, you don't, just because you're losing doesn't mean you're worth less. It means, and I think, and also on the converse, when we're winning, we're not worth more. Now, like I said, if we work on our skill and we get more competent, we get better at the game, we're going to win more. But just because we're on a winning streak doesn't mean all of a sudden we're a great player. And I think we can go on both sides of this. And I think it can be important to, so I think this is a really important. And like I said, the reason why it's going to hurt you is when you're doing well, you're going to hold on to that, and you're going to be afraid, and you're this, and that's going to cause you to play worse. And you have to be willing to lose your rank, and you're going to lose your rank when you're doing hot, when you're on a hot, and that's okay. All right, you're not a different person. Next, I want to talk about the next statement he said, and this is, don't believe people who say it is not. They're probably laughing at how weak you are. And I've had to convince students who have this mindset where they have this, like, everybody's laughing at you. And I remember I had some of this fear when I think of this, that everybody's sitting around, like, you watch a game and everybody's just sitting around like, don't you guys, isn't it a bit crazy how bad No Hands Gamer is at the game? He's so not like us. We always win. We always win. It's very easy to get into this, like, mindset, and when we call it out, it sounds ridiculous. But it's like everybody's just sitting around laughing at how weak you are. Sunbake Relaxer literally thinks this. Everybody's laughing at him, and maybe they'll have an occasional laugh, like, haha, you made a mistake. But like this continuous laughter of, like, this isn't like a laughing at a mistake. This is how weak you are. This is extreme language. And if you have one moment of weakness, if you have a day you're not on, they're all laughing at you. They're all saying, ha, 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 ha. And reality is, people don't care, all right? People are in their own lives. They're in their own anxieties. They don't care. And they might care for a half a second, and then they move on, all right? And I found that I know this quote, and I wanted to share this quote about this. And this is not actually by Winston Churchill, but the internet says it's by Winston Churchill. I looked it up, and Winston Churchill never said this, but I still think it's a fun quote, where it says, when you're 20, you care about what everyone thinks. When you're 40, you stop caring what everyone thinks. When you're 60, you realize no one is ever thinking about you in the first place. And I think that's this kind of thing. When we're young, we kind of think everybody's thinking about us. Everybody's kind of assessing, and you stop caring at some point, and then you realize no one cares. So, if you, I have to tell sometimes my students, if you tank your rank, I'm not going to care. I don't really, it's your life. I'm not going to be, and I think losing your rank is often necessary to grow, to experiment, to change. So I think this is a really important mindset. And I think it's just very easy to fall into this, everyone's laughing. And you can tell, that's why I feel bad for Sunbake Relaxer, because he's clearly got some really strong mental game issues that he's got to work on. So if you're watching this Sunbake Relaxer, buy the Mental Game of Poker. It's really going to help you. But bottom line is like people don't care, and I think it's easy to fall in this trap that everybody has this feeling of everyone else knows what's going on, and they're all just laughing at, haha, look how dumb you, the interviewer, are. Like, how could they not know this and this and this and this? How do they not have it together? Everybody has. It's so easy to have everything together. How would they not have it all together? Oh my God, they're the only person who doesn't have everything together, who makes mistakes. Man, it's so fun to laugh at the weak people, isn't it? Like, nobody's doing that, all right? Maybe, like, you know who's doing that? Like 14-year-olds who are like who kind of have no idea what's going on. Sometimes they do that, all right? So if you feel that in high school, I think that's, I do see that sometimes in the very young end of the community. But once people get an ounce of maturity, they stop doing that. So I want to say this isn't happening, and there's not this constant week. And when it is, it's really young kids who are almost doing it because they feel insecure because they don't know what the world. So they could have this power of like they laugh at somebody and they feel like they know what's going on. And then you get older, you realize, holy crap, nobody knows what's going on. So you stop doing that if you are doing that when you're young. So I want to talk about that. And the final statement is only way out is to work harder. And he kind of has this like, you just got to push yourself constantly, give up everything, like work. And this is will often lead to burnout. I want to lead just a small thing from mental game of poker. Burnout's youth motivation Churchill is actually caused by intense motivation. In the place where regular stuff often think they are lazy. And you can see he's kind of like feeling, Sunbake Relaxer feeling he's lazy, even though the opposite is true. The guy's working super hard. He says, he doesn't even have time to go to the gym. I saw on a tweet. He's working up to the ground. He's fatigued, and he needs the rest. He needs the rest. He should probably go work out. He should probably spend time with family. He should probably, have a hobby. And you could still, you can work your ass off, still be working 70, 80 hours a week, which is still incredibly insane amount, and still say all right, I'm going to make time to go to the gym. I'm going to make time to maybe to veg out and watch a TV show I like, or just chill out, and to just relax and not think about battlegrounds, poker in this book. So it's a thing of, I think players think, and I found, during GM seasons when I've tried to push myself so hard, I've seen the limits of my own ability, where there's eventually a point my brain's like, nope, we're not going to do this. And I've burned myself out, and it's actually caused me to lose GM games, or if I just had relaxed and not worked as hard before the GM game. So now I'm very meticulous for Grandmasters and Masters Tours to take it easy the week of the tour, that I don't overwork myself, because I can burn out, and there's nothing worse than being burned out right before a big tournament. So I think we have this mindset of you always want to be working hard, and that is not true, and that will not lead to maximum results. And that's the big thing, because you think oh, everybody says don't work hard, but those are the loser mindsets. And I'm like, no, you need to rest, you need to relax, you need to know your limits. And if you push yourself too hard all the time, now there might be a time maybe you're in a master tour and you just push yourself to the brim, but then you might be you might be burnt out for 2-3 days. So it's a thing of if you're going to push yourself that hard, you can't do that all the time. So I think that's the mindset, is you can't always work hard. You're going to burn out. Tons of streamers, I see tons of players struggling with burnout. And I think I do. If you look at me, I've streamed for a long time. And this is part of the reason I've had probably struggled less with burnout than other players. Despite that, I do think I work very hard, is I know I need to have balance. I need to call up my family, call up a friend, go hang out with somebody. I need to go to the gym. I need to do physical exercise. I know these are really important. One of the things I did this year was I actually moved next to a gym to make it easier to go work out, because I knew that was important, and I would be lazy about it if I didn't have this. So I made that easier for myself. So that's the kind of work smarter, not harder. So just working hard, just pushing yourself 100% all the time will not be a good, successful strategy. You need to rest. You need to have this. So I wanted to talk about that, because I think, this is a thing of if you just work hard all the time, you always, and he has this guilt, he's not working hard. And that's the thing. And I think Sunbaconrelaxer works incredibly hard. Making a successful stream as his, and, making it, to the very top of, the Hearthstone social media influencer hierarchy is incredibly difficult to do. Big stream, very successful. I believe he's on Team Liquid. So very, very difficult. I would love to have that level of success. I'm working at it. But the bottom line is he's working really hard. And what he really should be thinking is how can I make my life, how can I stop burnout? Because I'm sure he's getting burnout and he's feeling guilty about it. And what he needs to do is have balance in his life. And you could still have balance and still be working way hard, like really hard. I'm talking at 67 hours of work a week, which is way more average than it is. But if you push yourself too hard, after a while, I don't know if you've worked in an office job. There are days where I try to get stuff done, and I have on my previous job, and some days you're working really hard and you're staying late to get something done, and after a while your brain just stops working. You can't get work done. I think this can happen to people where you after a while your brain will stop cooperating. So I think it's very important you have balance and you have rest and you don't push yourself hard all the time. There's a time to push yourself hard, but not. So I wanted to talk about, like I said, about those three things and why they are hurting Sunbaconrelaxer's game. They will make him play worse. They will make him tilt more. And so he should work on those. And I hope he listens. And I hope, like I said, I don't want him to get into because I think, while what Lucas is absolutely true, and I think people are saying some other comments I've seen were very mean to Sunbaconrelaxer, and I think people are rightfully so to kind of this, but I want people to, when I see Sunbaconrelaxer, I see as somebody has these wrong beliefs that are hurting him, and he's kind of projecting that onto the world. But when he sees this, he says, "See, this is what I said. Everyone's laughing at me. Don't believe what people say." And I wanted to say, no, like these beliefs are actually hurting your game. And if you correct these beliefs, you will be more successful. You will tilt less. You will play better, and you'll be able to be better. But sometimes that means working not as hard. That means relaxing. So I just wanted to talk about that. And I think especially the first part, the competition placement at your worth is something we can relate to, where we look at our legend rank, we look at our rank, we say, I'm worth something now. And I want to get out of that mindset and say our worth is already there. And whether our rank goes up, it stays the same. Now, it might be a signal our worth to others that we know we're talking about, but we don't have to have this feeling like every time I lose a game, I'm worthless. Or every time I win a game, I now have value. Get out of that mindset. It's not true. And I think it will help your game. So anyways, this is a little bit different, but I hope you guys like that and like this different kind of content. So anyways, enjoy.